guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He is 29 years old and he was in the Army, and he's going to share his story about how he made the classic mistake when he got out of high school, where he joined the Army, and before he was deployed he married his girlfriend. And as you guys can probably imagine and figure out where this is going to go, didn't exactly work out too well for him. And essentially he's deployed, and eventually he comes back and finds out that she's pregnant. Okay? And of course he's happy because she's pregnant, having what he hopes is his child. Then he's deployed again, and then things start getting a little strange. His parents tell him that his wife is dropping off the daughter at their house, and she's out partying and doing Lord knows what. It's a big mess. He comes back home, and lo and behold, finds out, without a shadow of a doubt, she is cheating. Total stereotype. And unfortunately for our man here, it just gets worse and worse. However, in the end, this guy will come out on top, and karma will come back to strike her big time. But let me tell you guys, I do these videos every so often about the guys that they think it's a good idea to go off and get married before they get deployed. And so many times, these guys get cheated on left and right. I mean, for a lot of you guys that have been watching me for a while, you've seen some of the videos I've done, and this is such the biggest mistake. So for you young guys that are in the military or thinking about doing it one day, and you got your girl, and you want to do it they show in the movies, and you get married before you go off, before you join boot camp or get deployed, not a good idea. If you're going to do it, wait until you get out. And when I do these videos, of course we couldn't do a video at the sirens going off. Whenever I do videos like on this particular subject, I'll get thousands of comments from guys all over the world, particularly here in the United States, that talk about how either it happened to them or somebody else that they knew that joined the military, and the second they're off, the women are waving bye, and they're off to the freaking bars and taking off the rings in the parking lot. No joke. So I don't want that to happen to you guys if you happen to join the military. So anyhow, I'm going to share this guy's story. It starts off, it says, "Hello SSM. I found your channel a few months ago, and now your videos are a daily watch. Bro, thank you for the support. I am currently 29 years old, divorced with a 7-year-old daughter from my previous marriage. I met my now ex when I was still in high school. She was 2 years younger than me, and at the time I thought was out of my league and a head turner, and I wasn't the best looking guy at the time." Well, never go into the situation thinking a girl is out of your league, because remember guys, we're the freaking prize. Now, when we're younger, unfortunately we are the low men on the totem pole, because women, when they're in their teens and 20s, that's their prime, okay? Well, for us in our teenage years, it's awkward, we got the acne, and the weight tends to go up and down, and it's not the best time for the vast majority of us. Our prime really starts in our 30s on up. So, but don't go around with that attitude about she's out of my league. I don't want to hear that stuff. Anyhow, he said, college at the time did not seem like a really good option for me, so I joined the Army as a scout. My ex and I dated long distance, and in the fall of 2010, I went on my first deployment. At the time, everything seemed fine, and when she turned 18, and when I came home, we got married. He says, "Yes, I know, that was stupid." Yeah, smack, dude. That young, you're out of your freaking mind. Okay, especially if you're going to be deployed or go in the military. I mean, every guy wants to believe his girl is different or will work out different, but keep in mind, they're kids. Kids. No dude should be getting married, in my opinion, until he's at least 30 years old or darn close, with a lot of life experience, focusing on his career, getting money put aside and all that. And by then he may realize, you know what? It's not worth it. But 18, that is madness. He says, fast forward a year, and I was set to go on my second deployment overseas when we got the news that she was pregnant with my daughter. We decided it would be easier for her to move back home during the rest of her pregnancy and birth while I was away, since she would be about 7 months pregnant when I left. A few months after my daughter was born, I started hearing from my family that she was constantly leaving my daughter with them and would go out and party with some people, and she had me from work, and I started noticing large cash withdrawals from my joint account right around the time my checks would hit. So the second she gives birth, she's dropping off at the grandparents' house and she's off partying. That's a real responsible mother. But then again, she's like 19 years old, okay? And I'm not giving her a pass. Don't get me wrong here. But again, it's fucking madness to get married that young and expect people to act like adults. And believe me, guys, nowadays, the kids graduating, in my opinion, the kids I see, what I've observed graduating college, have the maturity level of what I think they had when I was graduating high school, okay? And kids graduating high school are the equivalent of like when I graduated junior high. And we can go back and forth on the reason for this is, but it is what it is. So, and also she's taking large withdrawals from the checking account. I should have listened more to my gut in the beginning, but sadly I did not. Hindsight's 2020. About 10 months in my unit was ambushed, and I was injured pretty badly. I ended up getting 2 weeks of R&R time, 10 months in, and decided to come home and surprise my wife and family. Well, you're going to see the one who gets the real surprise is unfortunately this guy. I had my brother pick me up at the airport to take me home to find my wife's car and another truck in the driveway of the house that we saved up to buy before I deployed, and my heart just sank. I went inside to find her in the shower and another guy laying in the bed naked and asleep. Not that anybody's surprised here, but this is terrible. This guy's overseas. This guy is an honorable guy, risking his life. His number could be up at any freaking time. He was injured really badly, I might add. And there she is, dropping off the baby at the in-laws' house, having a wild time, cheating on him in the house they saved up for, that he's paying for, because I don't hear anything about her having a job. And he walks in and sees some dude in his bed. He says, I'm ashamed to say that I lost all control and ripped him out of my bed and kicked him out of the house. Dude, you don't need to be ashamed about that. That guy had it coming. His screams caused my ex to come out of the shower. When she saw me at this point, my brother, she quickly started crying and yelling, I'm sorry, repeatedly. That's what they always say. Then why are you banging some other dude while I'm gone? I'm sorry, my butt. I began to yell and call her every name in the book, telling her that it was over and she needed to get out of my house and go live on the streets where she belonged. Amen, brother. She quickly ran back into the bathroom and called the police. When they arrived, I soon found out that listen to this, guys, this is terrible. I found out that she had removed me from the mortgage paperwork, so the house was no longer in my name because she had used my power of attorney to sell the house and buy it with the guy I ripped out of my bed. Oh my God. She may have been young, 19, 20 years old, but she's devious and obviously smart enough to do that. That is terrible. She began to say that she did not want to do it in this way and was waiting for me to get home so I didn't have to deal with this while I was deployed. She was nice enough to not press charges for trespassing and assault so I could go back in a few days to finish my deployment. She even admitted that she knew I would not be able to change my life insurance until it was over, and she was hoping I would not come home next time so she could collect the money. She actually admitted this. Meanwhile, my daughter was being raised by my mother and father for the last 6 months, since she was 2 months old. My brother gave me a ride to the house. My mother and father had an idea as what was going on, but didn't want to tell me so not to distract me while I was deployed. At first, I was furious with them, but with time, I understood both my parents are veterans and knew what I had to deal with on my deployments. I left a few days later to go back overseas and finish out my deployment and talk to my commanders about finishing up my contract with the Army, which was only about 6 more months. Can you believe that? This guy came home to see his family and thought everything was cool and came home to this? I mean, just on so many different levels here. It's despicable. But don't worry, guys. Life will teach her a lesson, you'll see. I had my direct deposit info changed so she would not get any more money from me while I was gone, and came home 3 months later. I did my out processing and had a month and a half of vacation time to use it while I dealt with the divorce and the custody hearings. Again, I can't stress this enough. This guy is risking his life overseas, and he got badly injured. And all this is going on behind the scenes, and she's happily taking all the money from his joint account. I found out while I was deployed that she had no less than 5 guys she was rotating through or having fun parties while abandoning my child. Because of this, the judge gave me full custody, and since I live in an at-fault state, she got 0 alimony. Awesome. Man, after hearing all this, if I found out that she still got alimony and got custody of the child, I would just go through the roof, as I'm sure many of you guys would. Thank the Lord. See, 19, 20 years old, I guess at this point, rotating 5 different dudes, having fun parties, and abandoning the child. She is a piece of shit. But you're going to see that, obviously she's in her prime, but that prime is going to go away pretty soon. The only thing I had to give her was half of my account since we were still legally married, and she sees our daughter around Christmas time for a week or so. I got to tell you, and I don't mean to be insulting to the guy who sent me this email, I got to wonder if this child is his. I mean, he didn't mention anything about a paternity test, DNA test, whatever you want to call it. I mean, given this woman's track record, I hope like hell this daughter is his. He says, now for the karma. I left the Army and went to college and got my BA in logistics, and I'm working on my master's. Good for you, man. I own a small shipping company with 12 trucks with money I borrowed from my grandfather and bought a nice house with 10 acres, so plenty of room for my daughter to get that pony she always been asking for. Bro, that's sweet. I'd love that. 10 acres, a lot of space. You don't have to see or hear the annoying neighbors. I gotta tell you guys, this is a real quick interruption. As I'm getting older, I spent most of my life living in the country. I grew up in LA, and that was fun, but then we moved across country to a small town USA in Pennsylvania, which I hated. But now as I get older, the peace and quiet of the country, when I would go back and visit family, I mean, you can see all the stars at night. It's quiet. All you can hear is maybe the deer carrying on at night. It's very peaceful. And I never thought that I'd actually be yearning for that. But now, after living in a very busy area for a while, I got to tell you, it's certainly appealing. I may just happen to one day buy myself a plot of land in the middle of nowhere and just live there part of the year. Because I do enjoy the access of going to the city and all, but just the older I get, I'm just getting sick of being around people. Man, I'm going off track here. But that's awesome. 10 acres, his own business, sweet. Success is the best revenge. Anyhow, he says here, my ex married guy number 5 and just had another kid, which has led to him filing for divorce because let's just say the kid came out a different color, which led her to crawling back to me asking for a second chance to be a family. You got to be kidding me. After all that, she actually thinks that this guy would be dumb enough to take her back. Clearly she's desperate, probably a little mental, probably from taking a lot of drugs over the years, but once a cheater, always a cheater. She's even cheating on the guys that she was cheating on with this dude with. She's never going to change. She'll be this way to the day she dies. The only issue is now it's years later, and obviously her looks, I guarantee, are fading real quick. Asking for a second chance to be a family. I simply told her to go to hell, and that I wouldn't have her trying to poison me or my daughter's life, and she left immediately. I would not file trespassing charges since my daughter never wants to see her anyway. Just goes to show that most women only see men for the resources they have to offer once the bad boys are gone. Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope to keep seeing your videos. Well, bro, thank you very much for sharing your story, and I want to say thank you for your service. I'm sorry you went through all this shit. It's terrible, but you learned a very hard lesson, and so your story, guarantee, will help other guys out there not make the same mistake. I mean, again, not every single situation is going to be like this, but after doing so many different videos and stories, and for you guys who have been following me for a while, look how these things turn out. And again, the thousands of comments I get in these types of stories from all over. They either happen to them or some guy they knew or some guy they served with. It's not worth it. So at the end of the day, if you guys are going to join the military, and I respect that, if you got that girl back home, just wait. Wait until you're out. Then you can marry. If you choose to marry, I don't recommend it. But if you must get married, wait until you're out because there's just been so many stories. And I don't want to see any of you guys hurt by all this. So, but anyhow, guys, that'd be a good one to go over here. It's a quicker video than usual, but getting right to the points here. So that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, as I always say, if you got a really good story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Write out really well. A lot of guys just jam everything together in a giant paragraph with shitty punctuation. Make sure it's well written. Make sure it's written in a way that you can read it on camera. It makes my job easier. And I don't care, guys, if this story was 25 years old. If it's a great story and you think it could help guys out, email it to me. And also, guys, if I don't get to your story right away, give me time. I will get to it. This guy sent me this email like 6 weeks ago, but I've finally gotten around to it, and I will eventually get to yours if it works. Some I can't do because it's not written well, or just simply it just doesn't quite work out. But if it's well written, I will get to it eventually. And be sure to like the video, guys, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.